What's up, guys? I'm Landon from Shoeware, and today we're putting the newest models from LeBron James and Kyrie Irving's shoe lines with Nike head to head to see how they compare. But really quick, if this is your first time checking us out, feel free to drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching and give this video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. But starting off with the box and the price, the LeBron 19s are going to have that kind of see-through LJ crown logo on the top of this shoebox, which is pretty clean. And then of course you kind of have a bunch of black patterns kind of covering the rest of it. And then looking at the Kyrie 7s, you get more of a matte black box with this player logo kind of blown up on top. But as for pricing, there's going to be decent separation here between these two shoe lines, with the LeBron 19s retailing for $200, which kind of effectively makes these the most expensive signature shoe line on the market. But the Kyrie 7s are going to be more on the affordable side at $130 for retail. So doing a quick rundown for the appearance of these shoes, starting off with the colorways. Today we have the Nike LeBron 19 sweatsuit versus the Kyrie 7 Weatherman. So this sweatsuit colorway for the LeBron 19 is actually the first one to hit the market. It's part of like a Space Jam collab or theme, but the markings on the upper actually make out the Nike World headquarters and like the Warner Brothers lot. So you can see it a little bit better if you just peel back that like overlay, that top design layer. So I mean, the details on that's pretty cool. I thought that was some cool background info for that pair specifically, but the details are also there for the Kyrie 7 color scheme here. So this is kind of a play off of Kevin Durant's line whenever he released this Weatherman color scheme years ago. So the green is actually meant to resemble a green screen used in forecasting weather, and then the orange and the red makes up more of like the heat map. So looking at more of the actual shoes now, leaving the colorways out of it, and starting off with the LeBron 19, this shoe is going to be noticeably higher just compared to last year's design. It looks a lot more like a LeBron shoe, just in my opinion. So you're going to have this little air pocket up around the heel that kind of runs around the back of the design too. And, you know, that's just kind of a nice look. It's kind of fun to mess around with. You can feel the air in there, but you also can see the air units directly through the side of the shoe. So something that they did do is take the 3 bubbles off of the tongue. So I was definitely a fan of that. I didn't really like how that felt on the LeBron 18s. It kind of bothered me whenever I played them, but switching it over to the Kyrie 7s, Nike took the strap off of this year's model after a 1-year stint on the Kyrie 6. So, you know, to me, that was kind of unfortunate. That's one of my favorite pieces on basketball shoes. But if you look at the black lace locks that are on the upper, they actually have a functional purpose that I'm about to get to, but they also make the number 11 up, which is the number that Kyrie wears on the court if and when he's playing. And then, of course, you got that Illuminati kind of looking eyes design on the back of this shoe to round out the design. So, you know, definitely not a bad look for either shoe. Alright, so now let's get more into the performance side of these shoes, starting off with the cushioning. So the LeBron 19 has a Cushlon foam midsole, which does give you a soft and springy feel. And you have a Zoom Air unit that's positioned in the forefoot, which is like the front half of the shoe, that's going to be paired with some thick Max Air units that, you know, like I said, you are going to be able to see through the side of the shoe. And whenever you apply pressure to these and compress this LeBron 19, you can really see those units at work. So, I mean, high quality cushioning setup is going to lead to the impact protection being great on this model. And then to switch it over to the Kyrie 7s, these are going to feature a large Air Zoom Turbo unit in the forefoot of the shoe, which is like kind of positioned up in the front half, that is going to be curved to bend in multiple directions. And you can actually see it labeled in that lime green portion on the shoe, but that's going to be where a lot of the comfort relies on, like where it comes from. They don't have a super soft feel, especially like in the heel, but you know, the responsiveness is still there. So for the materials, the LeBron 19 actually switched up from that knit posit design that they used on the LeBron 18 last year, and they added some nice pieces to this shoe. So these are going to have a full inner sleeve that almost acts like a shoe within a shoe. So that's going to conform to your foot really well, and the laces actually feed up through that outer piece, or the overlay, whatever you want to call it, to just really lock your foot into the design. And Nike also added a transparent fly wire that kind of extends up from the midsole. So that's just to name a few of the pieces they put on this new LeBron 19. Then looking at the Kyrie 7s, it's going to be mainly textiles that make up the upper. They did take the strap away from the Kyrie 6, like I mentioned, so of course you can have no strap on this Kyrie 7 model. So as far as support goes, the Kyrie 7 does good, and you know, the materials don't really budge on step backs, and you do have those black lace locks that I referenced in the appearance section that do a good job of kind of keeping your foot in place in the shoe. But I was honestly really impressed just with the support on this LeBron 19 after clearly lacking in that category on last year's model. So you're going to have that inner sleeve and that fly wire cable that of course you're going to help keep your foot in the shoe like I just talked about, but you're even going to have a small outrigger to kind of brace your foot that shows up on the bottom of the shoe. So they also built this design up a little bit higher than last year, so that is going to eliminate some of the heel slipping if you do decide to lace those all the way up. That's at least kind of what I felt that kind of helped. So to finish off with traction, that hasn't really been a strong suit for the LeBron James shoe line. They get a little bit better, like a shade better year to year, but that's pretty much the case that we have here. These do have a new traction pattern that is meant to resemble like a smaller version of like that LJ Crown logo, kind of shrunk down. That's the way that you say it. And it plays okay, but you know, it isn't a premium feel as far as like grip goes for traction. And then for the Kyrie 7s, they took a little step backwards in my opinion from the Kyrie 6-2, and it's all thanks to that computer generated design. I don't know what it is with these, but they never really give me a good feel to play in consistently. It's designed to give you multi-directional coverage, 360 degrees, but I mean, all of these computer generated designs just don't really play the best. Like, I know I didn't really like the setup for the Zoom Freak 3s either, and I know that was computer generated design, but you know, there is a little bit better bite on the Kyrie 7s compared to the LeBron 19s. You know, maybe more so because like all the other features on the LeBron kind of outshine the traction. But, you know, as for sizing, this is going to be true to size for both of these shoes. I will say that the LeBron 19 is a pretty heavy shoe, but it still will run on the narrow side. The Kyrie 7s are maybe a little bit wider than this LeBron. So for the final ratings, I'm not quick to lean towards either one of these shoes for the appearance. I mean, there isn't anything I really don't like on either design. Maybe aside from Nike ditching the strap for this Kyrie 7 model. But, you know, as for cushioning, the LeBron 19 is clearly the more comfortable shoe to play in. Nike stacked a lot of cushion into this design, which, you know, has been a focal point for LeBron's line. So I think you could maybe say that the Kyrie 7 took a little bit of a step back in the comfort region, but I mean, you for sure cannot say that about LeBron's line. I mean, they remained the same at the very least, but with Nike dropping the 3 bubbles that kind of ran up the tongue from the LeBron 18s, those really bugged me to play in. I'd say that this year's design just gives you a better overall playing experience. And then looking at the materials, it's always going to be tough for the Kyries to kind of keep stride with the LeBrons, with all the extra money that's going to go into this shoe with that higher retail price. And that's also going to lead to the biggest improvement from LeBron's line, which is going to be that support category. I mean, the inner sleeve along with the flywire cable and the outrigger, I mean, it's all going to combine to give you a really secure feel in this year's LeBron 19. So that's not really to say that, you know, the Kyrie 7s lack support, but they just don't have as many pieces that are designed or like geared for support alone, aside from maybe those black lace locks. But to finish off with traction, neither shoe is great, but the Kyrie 7s do give a little bit better feel on court whenever it comes to like starting, stopping, and like just your overall coverage. I do think that the LeBron 19s definitely have some room to improve there, but still, all things considered, the LeBron 19 is going to outduel the Kyrie 7 to win this performance battle. So, I mean, significant improvements to the LeBron 19 for the support is definitely what stuck out to me the most on this year's model. This has been a good shoe line for cushion for a while now, but the lateral containment took a really big step forward this year. So, I mean, once Nike gets the like traction looking better on LeBron's line, they get that figured out, then I'll be all in because, you know, $200 for a retail price, I just think there's still some work that could be done there. But just in case you do want more of an in-depth review on each shoe, we do have individual reviews live where I go a little deeper into both of these models, so feel free to check those out. And if you're interested in purchasing one or both of these shoes, just check out the links in the description below. And then feel free to leave a comment if you like this video or just letting us know any other shoes that you may want us to check out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoeware. Peace.
Yes, out of eyes trying to put me on a t-shirt. Shorty want me so bad, do your knees hurt?